Hey, it's Monday, few minutes after 12. I always have a great mastermind just before this call or this Facebook Live. Always inspires me, always keeps me in that right energy. You know, anything you can do in life that can keep you in what I call right energy so that you're always, moving in the right direction. What today, what new amazement can the universe unfold for you today? What's going to make it more magical than yesterday? And if you keep living that way, in the mastermind, Lisa reminded me of the beautiful quote by Einstein. Either everything is a miracle, or either nothing's a miracle or everything's a miracle. And I like to choose that everything's a miracle. I like to live my life that way so that I can move forward in the awe of what this life can bring. Even in challenging moments, if I take a look at it through the eyes of, ooh, this is interesting. What more am I going to receive in this? And I see beautiful Margareta from Sweden is with us in the evening there in Falun, Sweden. Great to always have you on. She's becoming an extreme focus coach, and I'm so excited about the greatness that you're going to bring to Sweden, just as Efrat's doing in Israel, and Gustavo's doing down in Mexico, and then others across this country. Really blessed of those that chose to become extreme focus coaches, because I know the impact that you're having using the B system. But today, I challenge you all with, intuition. Can that can that be a major advantage for you if you develop your intuition stronger? Well, let me give you an example of what I think about when I think about intuition in my life. So, my right arm, I depended on my right arm when I played professional tennis. I depended on, hey, Mark from Kansas, yes, you're here with us. Great, another inspired guy who brings so much to so many every single day in the trainings he does within the business world. But anyway, so I think of my right arm, and if I didn't know my right arm is useful for me to do a lot of cool things, because I'm right-handed. Think about, are you left-handed or right-handed? When you know that, hey, you know what, this can be useful. So like I developed the muscles, I developed the muscle memory so that I could serve. When I played professional tennis, one of my gifts was having a big serve, a serve that would get me out of trouble a lot because I could boom a serve. And but if I didn't know that existed, if I didn't see it and go, wow, if I develop this arm more and I develop the motion to all work together, then I couldn't have gone on to play professional tennis. Well, guess what? With intuition, it is no different. Even though we don't see it, the more I've developed the intuition, my intuition, or what I call listening to that greater voice that's in all of us, the divine presence that's within all of us. Problem is, we have so many things going on. We have this or that to distract us. But when we take the time and we breathe in, all the answers are there for us. I've learned that. I'm going to tell you kind of 3 amazing stories today that happened in my life that I want to share with you. I see my cat in the background. Great. We're in the motorhome. Those that know me, we moved out of our home last week, and we're kind of going on a free-spirited ride to take Daniel up to University of Oregon, where he's becoming a duck and going up there and being free. We're fortunate to have this motorhome to give us that freedom. But so I think back to, one of the amazing stories that I want to share with you is that, so when I was writing my first book, and I didn't have a publisher, and some of you can relate to that, and back then you didn't have any self-publishing going on. You either were with a major publisher or you didn't have a book out there. And I had been working my trust muscle of listening to that voice. In fact, all my writings within that book came from that voice. Many times in my household, the funny part is Kathy's a brilliant writer, and I wasn't, before I learned how to tap into this, I would call a greater voice than mine. And when I tap into that, I would write things, and Kathy goes, oh, wow, we know you had nothing to do with this. That was her biggest compliment, meaning that I got out of the way and I let that divine guidance system that we all have within us come through my pen. All 3 of my best-selling books have come through something greater than me. And that's why I'm extremely proud of them, because I was allowed myself to get my judgment out of the way, to get my own personal this or that out of the way, and allowed something greater than me to come in and bring something of greater worth. And we're all able to do that. But you know what? Like I mentioned in tennis, if I hadn't practiced it and I didn't work it, it would have never developed. Intuition is no different. Bob Proctor does a great job with intuition. You know, when you see him speak, he's able to go up to someone and his intuitive voice speaks to him and can tell something about this person right now that the person is like, wow, how did you know that about me? Because he can connect, because he practices it. That's what I've learned to do, is connect to that divine. For me, it's God, just being in collaboration with rather than outside of it. I don't pray, you know, for, oh, this or that. I always include my divine spirit in everything I do. And when I do that, amazing things happen. So 3 stories. First one is this first book, I didn't have a publisher, but I had reached out to Hampton Roads. And they had turned me down, which many publishers do, but I thought, hey, I was divinely guided that they're the publisher for me. So I knew, even if they didn't know, I knew they were the publisher for me. So they had the book fair, the big book fair that's usually for years, every year it's in Chicago, sometimes in New York. For the first time in I don't know how many years, it was in LA. And so I thought, okay, cool. It was at the convention center in LA. At that time, I lived up in Camarillo. I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to go meet them. I'm going to speak to them. And I'm going to show them that they're really the publisher of this book. They just don't know it yet. And so I went there. I invested in whatever it cost to go, you know, to it. And but you know, didn't have to fly across the country. But I went in and I talked to Bob Friedman, who was the owner and the key person within the publishing company, and we hit it off. It was great. I'd already started somewhat of a dialogue with him prior to, and he agreed to meet with me, but we still weren't home yet. And to them offer me an advancement and actually signed me on to do my book. So that one of the first nights had a big party, and there's 3,000 people in this room, and I'm going in there, I just got to connect. I got to meet people. I'm going to find the right this and that. And people would come up to me and they want to know your elevator speech. They're all kind of, to me, I think I thought they were a little uppity. They all had their dialogue down. I wrote this book and this is what it means. And, you know, I didn't have my elevator speech. I'm going, oh no. And, you know, someone would ask me, well, what's the name of your book? Well, at that time, my working title was Jesus Speaks to the 21st Century. And I just had a real problem with that because there's so many different, you know, are you a Jesus freak? Are you a born again Christian? Are you a new thought leader that sees the consciousness of Jesus? There's just so many elements within just that statement that when someone would ask me what the name of my book is, I go, I couldn't even tell them because I'm like, oh, what are they going to judge already? You know, and if I did get it out, they go, well, what does that mean? I didn't have, I was so self-conscious. I didn't have any kind of elevator speech at all. So I'm like, God, you put me in this place, these 3,000 people, I'm doing no good here. Give me a bone, throw me a bone, help me out here. I mean, I know I've been inspired to bring this book to the world. I need something here. I need some help. And instantly, it was so funny, I had to go to the bathroom so bad that I'm like, wait, how's that come on? I'm like, how's that help me? So I go out, and you had to go outside of the big room to go, and the restroom was around the corner. And as I go around the corner, as I'm going to the restroom, I see this other little room, and it's got all these security guards and people showing invitations. There are only about 30 people in that room. And I went, ooh, that looks like that's a happening place. But I went in the restroom, came out, and I go, oh, I got to go see, you know. But I've seen the guards are going, nope, can't come in without your invitation, checking. And I'm coming up going, oh, this is kind of interesting. And I look at it, I come walking up, and it was like they didn't even see me. They're stopping everyone. Somehow I just walked right through them. It was kind of crazy. I'm like, well, do I exist? I'm like, oh, maybe this is the help I asked for. And then I see Carl Reiner. And if any of you know who Carl Reiner is, great. He was a great writer, great director, produces some of our really, really great movies. But I knew Carl because he was a huge tennis fan, and I used to play in the Carl Reiner Celebrity Tennis Tournament. So I went, oh, I better go up and say hi to Carl real quick before they kick out and they see that I'm not one of the people supposed to be here. So I go up and I see Carl, And all of a sudden, Carl goes, Dave, and gets all excited, and the whole room looks, and I'm like, well, is this a good thing? Well, hey, this is Carl Reiner. I guess it's a good thing. He hugs me and goes, oh my God, and he's all excited. So all of a sudden I'm going, okay, this is where I'm meant to be. And then I look to my left, and it's David Crosby. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. David Crosby of that great group. And a few years earlier, I was able to be a part of awarding David with the Music Man of the Year for the Grammys. I had a chance to actually be there and be part of that presentation. So David and I knew each other, and all of a sudden David and I are hugging. All of a sudden, everyone in that room wanted to know who I was. Now, everyone in the room were major celebrities, either movie stars or TV stars. It was really funny. All of a sudden, I was the guy, and I'm going, oh, wow, God, you work amazingly. I was just allowing myself to just go with it. And it was so funny. Everyone that I saw in there, I recognized either from, because this was a major A team in acting that were part of this small little thing, but because these two people made such a fuss, everyone thought, I don't know that guy, but he must be somebody. So everybody started kissing up to me. It was kind of funny. But this gal, really cute gal, funny, spunky gal, she comes and goes, oh! She looks at me, she goes, have we had kids together? I thought, what a great line. That was so funny. I'm like, I don't know, but I didn't know who she was. But I thought she was very, very funny. Probably thought she was a comedian, but yeah, I thought it was a great line. And then she turns to this gal that I also didn't recognize, but all the actors and were all kind of kissing up to her. So I knew she had to have some kind of authority. And she goes, hey, can we take Dave to dinner with us tonight? And she goes, looked at me and went, sure. He can go to dinner with us. I'm going, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So then all of a sudden they're like, okay, it's time to go, it's time to go. I'm going, where are we going? And they're ushering us out through this door. Now I'm now part of this group, right? And we usher out. Now we're on the stage in front of the 3,000 people. I'm going, oh my God. All those people who saw me out there, who came up and said, what's your book? I couldn't even speak to them. I had nothing. They're looking up, they're going, what the heck is that guy doing on stage? So I get up there, I'm going, I have no clue what I'm doing. But then the announcer goes, this is the biggest books out in America and everything. And so they started introducing each celebrity, and the crowd was going crazy. Some of these celebrities had new books, but they're very, very known superstars within the acting world. I'm there going, uh-oh, I'm up here and everyone's going there, and I'm going to be the last one standing because they ain't going to introduce me. I'm thinking, oh boy, what have I done now? What have I put myself, or what did God put me into? So I'm there going, oh, this is very, very interesting. And luckily, that one gal who came up and had that very funny line, she's still there and she's not being introduced. I'm thinking, oh good, she's probably just with her husband or something, and she's not one of the ones that are, so at least there's two of us here. It won't look so funny. So everyone moves up over here and each one's been introduced about their new book and all that. And all of a sudden the announcer goes, and now the #1 best-selling book in America, Ya-Ya Sisters. And it just happened to be she was the author of it. And she looked at me and goes, oh, time for me. I'm thinking, oh good, well it's time for me to, yeah. She goes up, she moves over. So what I ended up doing, I just kind of slid in with the pack and went, no one's gonna notice, I'll just kind of slide, I'm in this groove now. And so she was the author of the #1 book out there at the time. And so as we're coming off stage, Sybil Shepherd, who was a star of Moonlighting at the time, really big TV show, and Sybil comes up to me and goes, what's the name of your book? And I looked at him going, by this time I'm just in the flow. I go, Jesus Speaks to the 21st Century. And she goes, oh, well then you don't believe in masturbation. Then what a great line that is. I said, well, actually I think it brings you closer to God. She goes, wow, do you want to go dancing? I swear, this is not made up. I'm going, whoa, this is crazy. And I says, well, I just agreed to go to dinner with them, but thank you. I'm thinking, Kathy's never going to believe this when I explain all this that went on by me just going, I need a bone here. I need some guidance. And all of a sudden I'm put in this. So now I'm going to dinner with this group, and all the celebrities are coming off, and now there's like just 5 of us going to this dinner. And I learned, as I'm walking, I learned that these are the 5 biggest books in America. And I'm walking there, and that gal who said yes, as I find out, she's the top editor for HarperCollins, really the biggest editor in the book business. So I'm going, that's who I'm going to dinner with? So we go to this really fancy restaurant. But as we're walking actually to our cars, this one guy comes up and goes, do you know this is a private party? And I went, oh gosh, you're right. What am I doing here? All of a sudden I felt so bad for even saying yes to this. I'm going, gosh, she invited me. He goes, she invited you? I said, yeah, but really I don't belong here. And he says, and so all of a sudden he starts backing down a little bit, and she turns, she goes, Dave, you're coming with us. I said, all right, I'm coming with you. And I kind of looked at him like, okay. So I go to the dinner, and they all want to know about my book, and I start talking about it. And so the gal with HarperCollins goes, I mean, the biggest editor out there, she goes, can we meet tomorrow? I mean, she's asking me, can we meet tomorrow? I said, sure, what time are you available? She said, 10 a.m. And I said, great, I'll be there at 10 a.m. I'm so excited. I left there, drove home, because we didn't live that far away from the LA Convention Center. We're up in Camarillo. I got in late. I told Kathy about the whole story. We laughed about it, but I got up the next morning. But as I'm driving, that voice spoke to me again. That voice said, you committed to Bob Friedman at Hampton Roads to meet with him at 10. Or he was speaking at 10 with Neale Donald Walsch. They had the #1 bestseller, you know, a #1 bestseller in Conversations with God. And he says, you said you would be there for their talk. And I'm listening to that voice going, oh, but it's HarperCollins. And I heard the voice say, yeah, but I told you it was Hampton Roads that was producing this. So you can imagine this dialogue I'm having with myself driving to the LA convention. And so as I'm walking, my mind is winning over my divine voice. I'm going to HarperCollins. That's the biggest out there. This is the biggest editor out there. And as I'm walking towards to go meet with her at that 10 o'clock, all of a sudden I look, the room for where the party was now set up in a seminar. You know, it probably had 2,000 people in there with a stage. And they're going, and now Bob Friedman and Neale Donald Walsch. And I went, I promise, and I told Neale the same thing, because Bob had introduced me to Neale that day. I said I'd be there at 10. And I thought, and I was just kind of got quiet. And he says, what really, where is your integrity? If you make a commitment, what level of commitment did you truly make? If now that's bigger, they're bigger, and they're even bigger than Hampton Roads, and yet you wrote this book through the wisdom I gave you. And I just, it was a wake-up call. And I just shifted, turned, went in, sat in the front row. Right as Bob came and spoke, I just sat there. I actually, you know, I was a no-show for the HarperCollins meeting. But I knew that I had already committed, and that whole thing was arranged that was beyond me. It taught me a new lesson of trusting to that guidance and then not letting myself get in the way. So later, after the talk, I told Bob, I said, man, that was so inspiring. It was. I said, I'm so glad I showed up. And Bob and I connected on a new level. And I told him about the HarperCollins and how I stood her up so that I could be with him. And he instantly went, we got to do this book. I mean, literally, right there, he knew that HarperCollins now wanted it. That whole thing wouldn't have been set up. And I thought, wow. All I said was, I need a boner. I need some help. Throw me a bone. And look what took place. And so Bob goes, thank you for being so persistent. It's opened my eyes to know who you are and what this book is. So I signed a pretty good advancement, and I wrote, you know, had a publisher for my first book. But I had to stay, it was tough. You know, but why was it tough? It's just because my ego, my whatever you want to call, got in the way for a moment. But there was so much truth, and I was allowing the truth to guide me. And then for a moment, I just let the truth go. No, this is bigger, and you know, who knows where it would go. But I already was told that Bob Friedman was going to do this book. Even though they said no, I knew. So I allowed myself to trust at such a deep level. Hey, my new daughter-in-law just came on. Unbelievable. So proud of you, Megan. It's so cool. You and Shane make such a great couple. So anyway, back to the story. I ended up signing with Hampton Roads, ended up having the book come out, and that was my first venture in writing a book and having a book published. And it was a total gift, but I had to go outside of my own mind and allow that inner guidance system. Yeah, it's tough sometimes. We don't always trust it to the level that we're asked to trust to do it. So how do you develop that? I do what I call the process, and I do it not every morning. I try to, but when I do the process, it knocks off all the noise in the world. And if you want to know that process, I don't have time to go through it step by step now, just put on here, I want you to send me the process, and I'll send it to you. And if you don't want to put on your email address where everyone can see it, that's fine. My email address, I'll put mine on, daa@extremefocus.com. I'll put it down. I'll send you the process. It's what's given me the ability to tap into the greatest knowledge of all time by just allowing myself to quiet myself to hear a greater voice than mine. And it's available to all of us. But as I said before, it takes practice. So my next story, and I realize I'm running a little long before we do the game ready, but I really want this to be impactful. It's such an important part of life. So I was asked to speak at the Women's World Wellness Congress in Chennai, India. And it was Bob Proctor, myself, and the beautiful Roger Anthony, which I co-wrote Be a Beast with, and our work was developed together. Always blessed to have known and still feel Roger's presence today, even though he passed 3 years ago now. But I feel he's so much in this work. So we got asked to go to India, and we were given first class tickets, and I asked the promoter, I said, can I fly coach but bring a camera crew? And they said, so that I have tickets for them. And they said, absolutely. So Richard and Sally Crawford, really great, one production, came with us to film all this. And then Kathy orchestrated that we'd stop in Beijing on the way to India and film there on the Great Wall, because I heard this voice saying, we got to put Roger on the Great Wall doing the magic he does of the speed bag. It's going to be amazing. And sure enough, and everyone said that's impossible. But one thing led to another, and we do it. We have wonderful footage that we've never ever released. Some of the neatest stuff that I've ever been a part of, we've never released that footage, and I'm making a commitment right now. We will get that footage. Some of it was some of amazing stuff, because Roger was one of the most amazing guys I've ever met. His wisdom he was so tuned in, let's just put it that way, that he could just bring it forth. So anyway, we get to Chennai. We had we did filming at the Taj Mahal. It was really a remarkable trip. Did the filming in the Forbidden City, did filming on the Great Wall. But came the day that I'm to speak. 3,000 people in the room, big screens, and they're televising it also. And I'm sitting in the front row. We had big leather seats they had for the those that were the speakers. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I'm getting myself ready, because I always ask, anytime I go on stage, I say, Lord, use me as an instrument. I surrender it to that greater voice. It's a practice I do. It helps me to be free to go up on stage and know that it's not about me. There's something greater than me that can happen if I just allow it to happen. And all of a sudden, it just said, start your talk in the back of the room. I'm going, go to the back of the room? Who does that? 3,000 people, big screens up here, and I'm going, that's okay, because I've learned to trust it. I use it so much that, I questioned it for a moment because it seemed kind of scary. I even said to Kathy, I said, hey, I'm going to start in the back of the room. I don't know why. They had already mic'd me up, and so I snuck to the back of the room, and they had 3 big screens, and I had a introductory of who I am, and yah type of thing. And so they're showing that. I find a table in the back. I stand on the back and going, I don't know what I'm doing here, but you know what? I got to trust. If this voice speaks to me, and even though this sounds crazy, if I trust, there's some reason I'm here. So all of a sudden they go, now Dave Austin, and there's no one on stage, and I start speaking. People can't figure out, and they got camera crews going around trying to find me, and that. I'm just on this table in the back, and it was so empowering. It was crazy. All of a sudden the room, somehow they caught, and it all turned and saw me in the back, and I'm on this table just talking, and there was a buzz going on. The energy was like electrifying. I think I could have walked in the air at that moment. It was like unbelievable. And finally, after I opened up and everything, I jumped off the table and I started to walk to the front, and the people in the back were all coming. They all wanted to touch me. I didn't know what that was about, but they all just wanted to touch me. And it was interesting. So I was just talking as I'm trying to make my way to the front. I finally get up on the stage and I deliver Kathy will say it's the greatest talk I ever gave, because I was just like completely trusting in this intuition that I don't even know why I did it. I just did it, but there was a buzz going on that was so powerful, and I just got I caught fire in that buzz. Hey Dan, and so and Danny, when I came off the stage, this gal goes, "Oh my gosh, that was brilliant! Wow! The fact that you thought of how there's different classes in India, and the people in the back are the third class, so to speak. You made them first." I went, "Really? Oh my gosh!" She looked at me like I was crazy. She goes, "Like, you didn't plan that?" I said, "No. It was just a inspired thought that I've learned to trust this voice that I know is there, and it's there for all of us." But it had such a big impact on the whole event because of something that I didn't even understand. What I had done is made everyone equal. I made everyone equal by going and starting in the back where I didn't even, it was not even a thought. I didn't even know why I did it. And this gal's telling me that, and she thought I was crazy when I'm going, "Wow, that's great." And she's like, "Wait a minute, you're the one that did it." I'm going, "Well, I did it, but it was just what I went with, that intuition." So when I speak about it, we all have it. You know, when I work with athletes, they've got to rely less thinking and more of, their own intuition, so they allow their athletic ability to take over than overthink. I have a PGA golfer right now playing to get an exempt out of all. If he wins this tournament that he's playing today or whatever it is, he gets an exempt to all PGA tournaments. He no longer has to qualify at the events, which is, challenging. It's really cool. But we've been working on him to it's okay. Things can be easy. They don't have to be hard. That's something that's gotten in his way. He's such a good golfer that he dominates at times, but it's like he makes it hard on himself. Can you relate to that? Do you ever do that in business? I know I've been like, "Oh, wait a minute, this might be too easy." But you know what? If we allow ourselves to just tap into that guidance system that's available to all of us, but then practice it. Practice it so it becomes second nature to you. My intuitiveness is off the charts because I practice it. If I don't, it's no better than, like, I hurt my shoulder a couple years ago, and I couldn't serve at all in playing tennis now. At my age, I still think I'm at my age, probably one of the best in the world, but I couldn't get the big serve. I didn't have any serve, in fact. So I wasn't able to use it. I still, to this day, I'm having a hard time getting that big serve, but I'm working it still. I'm working it. Same thing goes for your intuition and that knowing of trusting. It takes a deep level of trust. And that's why I was able to go to the back of the room rather than start in the front of the room, because I've developed a trust because I practice it. So if there's anything I can get across to you today, more than anything else, is allow yourself to quiet yourself. I many times use just the breath. That's why we start when I do the game ready and we have that deep breath. It quiets everything, and then you're in a receiving mode. And that's where it's there, but a lot of us don't know how to recognize it. Just practice it. And what I'd love to have you do is that on this Facebook page today, if you're inspired, give me a story. I said I was going to do 3, but it took a little longer in those 2. There's some. I have so many of them, but I think those 2 fit the bill pretty good. But I want to hear your story. Everyone has a story that you might, just take a moment to listen and think back to where, it was something that just intuitive you just kind of knew. You kind of knew, and you allowed yourself to go there. That's it. A lot of people don't understand how I've been able to do some of the things I've done. I've just allowed myself to go there. Even when people said, "You can't do that. You can't go and do that." I go, "Well, no, I'm going to do it because I feel it in my heart that it can be done, and it will be done, and shall be done." When John F. Kennedy was president, he wanted to have someone go to the moon during his presidency, and he took von Braun and said, "How are we going to do this? How are we going to, what will it take?" And von Braun didn't know how to do it, but he was the scientist that developed it. All he said was the will to do it. So it's such a strong will So it just takes the will to do it, and then allowing yourself to actually quiet your mind. And then you can be guided. Just as I keep getting guided, and I love it. I love it. Back to Einstein. Everything is a miracle or nothing's a miracle. But whose choice is it? Your choice. So let's do the game ready now. So first of all, what we do, we just think about the 3 things that we want to focus on this week. Maybe you want to focus on, a great intention is to just focus on taking quiet time every single day this week and see what shows up. And then write it down. That's how I do it. I mean, as I say, all the books, the 3 books that I've written, have all come through, my parts in those books come through when I've quiet and I've just allowed myself without judgment to let it flow. So that would be a great intention. Just quiet yourself to see. Maybe you have a particular challenge this week. Maybe your intention could be that in that quiet zone to find answers that right now you're struggling to find. So they show up for you. 2, I mean, for me, when I bring joy to every situation, boy, there's magic that happens. Even when I say I hit something challenging, if I can tap back into the joy of life, then even the challenge doesn't have the hold on me. I now can look into what is working here that's going to amaze me, even when I can't see what's going to amaze me right at this moment. Gratitude's always a big one for me. That's why we're going to go right into that now. So these are just suggestions. Quiet yourself and think about 3 things you want to focus on going forward so that your mind is now free to fly, free to move you forward into whatever it is that you desire. Now, with that said, close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to just water and grow that which you are grateful for. Just think about all the things that you have rather than what you don't have. Let that inspire you. Think about, I mean, I got this motorhome. Right now, we had this big home in Rancho Santa Fe. It was awesome. We're no longer in it. But instead of going, oh, I'm grateful that time I had in it. And I'm also incredibly grateful for this new journey, where we're going to end up, because we always always going to be greater than it was. That's the way it is. And so right now, we're going to be in the motorhome, exploring, having fun. We're free birds. How fun is that? And then we'll come back, and I know exactly where I want to live. It's going to take more than I had before, so I have to create a lot of, more wealth, even more so to be exactly where I want. But hey, what an exciting time to go ahead and allow myself to do that. How cool is that? So, think about all those things that you're grateful for. Allow yourself to tap in to that gratitude. Now, in the gratitude, with your eyes closed, see a gate. Now, pass through that gate. And as you pass through the gate, oh my gosh, you come into this place that's so incredible in nature. Wherever you want to be, where it's maybe you've been there before, combination of places there, create a lush, beautiful place. Because I'll tell you what, nature loves to be appreciated. And so as you just simply appreciate the beauty, it's such a give and take situation, because nature loves to be appreciated. So it's just radiating out an energy to you. So now just take the moment and breathe it in. At least 4 times. What's happening is you're centering yourself. You're allowing yourself to bring in. You might even be a little dizzy because maybe you're not used to breathing at that level. Don't get freaked out if you're dizzy. Start learning how to breathe at that level. A lot of us breathe very shallow, and that keeps us in a very shallow state of mind. So breathe deep. With the athletes I work with, it's all in the breath. If I'm working with Navy Rangers or Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, it's in their breath before they go into a very heated situation, but they can do it with calm strength. So now you're in that place of calm strength. Now go ahead and go through the next gate. And as you go through the next gate, now step into your life fully and see yourself utilizing your intuition to take you to new heights. Maybe things you go, I don't know if I can possibly do that, but guess what? There's something greater than you that if you allow it to, you can do anything. Anything. But you have to take the action behind it. You can't just see it, which we're doing now. See yourself taking the action that just moves you forward into anything that's possible. In our Beast program, we blow up the box. There is no box. There are no limits. There's no borders. It's all there for you. So see yourself achieving that and being amazed at how cool it is to live into that which you desire. Feel what it feels like to have it. So your subconscious mind gets so familiar with it. Just take it in. See it very clearly. Because your subconscious mind is ultimately going to be your guide. So let your subconscious mind feel what that feels like right now, so it can fully accept the dream that you have for yourself. Now go ahead, come back through the gate, come back into that place in nature. Always so good. So good to come back into nature as you see yourself living fully a brighter life because you're allowing yourself to. See this water running, ice cold, refreshing stream. Drink from it. Feel refreshed, feel nourished. Now you feel alive because you can feel it running through your veins. Now walk in a new sense of confidence. Walk in a new sense of owning the greatness that lies within you, that's always been there, but you're just opening the channel to let it flow. To let it flow so you can live more fuller. So keep walking in that strength. Now walk out through that first gate you came through. You're game ready for an awesome week. Be with me every week. This is what we're doing. We're training our brain. This habitual training gets your brain to accept that which you might not even believe you can do. But once you keep doing it, your subconscious mind all of a sudden goes, sure. I mean, I haven't had 4 players in Major League Baseball become MVPs for their teams by accident. I haven't worked with a U.S. Olympic team that took them to the World Cup and had their best results ever by accident. What we're doing right now is how we achieved it. So incorporate it into your life. But it's that consistency. Because a lot through our lives, we've had consistent patterns that haven't really served us. But now, you're creating a system that will serve you. So I hope to see you each time. We have another Beast Mode On coming up. I would love to have you. That 30-day challenge rocks. Reach out to me, find out more information, or, you know, gosh, if you ever want to become an Extreme Focus coach, we have another one coming up in late August, class starting, and I'll tell you what, I'm just so excited about all the things that are happening with all our coaches. So, bless you all. Thank you for being with me. Who knows where I'll be next week? We'll see. But I will at least be here with you all. Talk to you soon. Thanks.